I'm Eric Singer, Gazette.com, and this is Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC, everything that is definitive when it comes to the Colorado Springs Switchbacks Football Club. And joining me, as always, Coach Steve Trittschuh. All right, I got to go back in time a little bit. We're going to talk about the Orange County game. It was good on so many different levels, but you still failed to capitalize.
Yeah, this is one of those games when you come out of it and it's a 3-1 loss and you're like, how the heck did we lose? We were very good in possession. We were very good in creating chances. We came back to tie the game at one point, but then we gave up some bad goals. Just 3 mistakes, and they capitalized on them, and that's the way the game went.
All right, let's go to the highlights for a moment so we can explain some of those positives first before we go to the negatives. And there really were a lot of positives. More shots on goal than the other team. I mean, they were a more experienced team, too. Yeah,
actually, they're a very good team. Right now, when I'm looking at the league and some of the teams we've played, I think they're the best team we've played right now. They're solid everywhere on the field. They're very organized, and they have some good attacking players too. So, but we had a very good game against them. I mean, we were very unlucky to not go up in the 30th minute there with Saeed following up a shot. But then, it's just the small things that led to goals, and they were just really bad mistakes, uncharacteristic of us. We just got to deal with it and move on. The guys that made the mistakes, they understand it, and now, I just asked them, hey, let's be better than we were last week for the next game.
All right, let's look at the highlights, and so you can give us a little bit more clarity. Maybe they'll be showing up on some of those mistakes. And I don't want to hone in on any individual player because they know what they did. They're going to try to fix it.
Well, the first goal, obviously, David, the goalkeeper, he probably just should have cleared the ball, and he played it to Taylor Hunter's feet. Taylor had a bad touch on it. The guy grabbed it, capitalized and scored a goal. The second goal they got, it was off one of our players lost their mark. I believe it was Taylor again, and he lost his mark on his corner, and the guy capitalized on that. And then the third one, Jordan Burt, he tried to play a back pass, and he played it to one of their guys. So I guess he was just seeing their colors at the time, and basically they went in and scored and made it 3-1. So they're bad mistakes, and the guys realize it. But this league is about learning, about developing it, and hopefully they can learn and develop from not making those mistakes again.
All right. Speaking of education, speaking of learning, for our players off the field, those young amateurs who are watching these games, going, "This is what I want to be. This is who I want to be, and this is how I want to play." Maybe just focus in on some of those educational tools that you can talk to them about some of the mistakes that the younger players made that you're going to try to push so that the younger players who are watching this aren't going to make those same mistakes.
Like the first goal, when David is trying to play to Taylor and right on the top of the box, there's some times in the game where you just got to clear the ball, get back set organized and get set, get everybody in good shape and then defend again. But, we tried to play. We're a team that still likes to try and play out of the back and keep possession of the ball. And I think at that point, David, that's what he was thinking, just keep possession. But in reality, if you look back at it, if he just clears the ball up the field, then we just get shape and get back and defend. The second goal when they scored on the corner, we got to stay with our marks, and that's basically that's what you have to do as a defender in the box, especially on all restarts. Just got to be we calling it touch tight to the man. If we're touching them, that means we're tight to them and we know where they are. And then the third goal it's just a bad error, just a bad back pass. If we just play forward. And especially at that point in the game, we were down 2-1, and I was trying to get the guys, let's play forward. And Jordan, he didn't see anything there because there was really no movement ahead of him, and he just plays the ball. He tries to play the ball back to one of our other defenders, and it gets picked off and goes for goal. Sometimes you just don't have to play pretty. If you just play the ball forward, if you just get the ball out of your area, then you're back to getting shape and organized.
And the one thing that I noticed, when I was looking at the recap of the game and watching some of the highlights as well, the thing that I noticed was being aggressive, being dominant, and really, talking to each other. That's the one thing on the field, I think, for younger players, that's the key. And for players who are watching this right now and want to learn from the Switchbacks, that's the key.
And that's one of the things with a new team, that one of the things that'll start coming, and it's been getting better. The communication is a big thing, and then we've been talking about that in training, trying to get that better. But the fight for these guys have been there, and we asked them, except for that 20 minutes in Austin a few weeks ago, we've asked them to come out and be intense for the games, and they've answered that. This was a great game for us, and like I said, it's trying to figure out how did we come out of that game losing 3-1, but we just got to move on.
All right, thank you, Coach. And of course, we're going to be back with you in a few moments. But we're first going to be talking with a player to get his take on the game and his take on his present and his future with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. As the show, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, continues, we'll be back with this timeout right after this.
Doing what we do for a living, we have to give that extra mile, even when you think you can't. Because not only are we taking care of people, but we're taking care of ourselves. At Centura, it is a culture of health. And as a group, we've brought that to the forefront to demonstrate to patients.
See Juliana's inspiring story at CenturaConnected.org.
Welcome back to Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. I'm Eric Singer, your host for everything that is the Switchbacks. And joining me now is one of the players, JJ Greer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's learn a little bit about you first.
Okay.
Where have you played? Where'd you go to school, etc.? Let's learn a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I played at the University of Memphis for 5 years, actually. I broke my foot, so I redshirted 1 year. But yeah, grew up in Memphis. Love Memphis, and then I went to Charlotte, played my first year in USL Pro. Now it's USL, and then Jeremy Oyer, he actually brought me out here.
So, we talked to various players when they come from sea level to high altitude. Tell me what your experiences have been and how have you trained for it differently than you would, say, for example, in Charlotte or when you went to school in Memphis?
Well, it's completely different. You almost can't even prepare for it unless you're here. But I bought this like training mask thing. I tried using that in Memphis, and it was okay, but I tried to get here a couple weeks early. And yeah, just running it, and a couple of us did the incline up there, and that was very tough.
How many times have you done it now?
Once. That was the only time. That might be the only time. But no, I think we had a good preseason in terms of fitness and stuff, and guys come in, you want to come in fit.
Right.
So you try to do the best of your ability, but the best way to get fit is to play. And I think we played a lot, so that really helped.
All right, let's go back in time now. We're going to go back to the weekend, and we're going to go show the highlights. And actually, even though you lost, you learned something. So let's go ahead and go back to the highlights. Let's talk about a little bit about this and what you and the team have learned from this.
Absolutely. Well, I think, honestly, it might be some of the best possession that we've had playing. I mean, I know Coach said before we had a few mistakes that cost us. I mean, they're a good team, and good teams will capitalize, when you make mistakes. But in terms of keeping the ball and playing good soccer, we did that, I felt. So I think we can learn from that. You try to learn from the positives. And, we know the mistakes we made, and we can learn from that.
How do you bounce back mentally from a game like this when you were virtually dominant? You should have been, on paper, the winner. When you look at this and you look at what you did on the field. How do you bounce back mentally?
Well, I think, like I said before, you look at the positives and you take from that. I mean, you look at the mistakes too, you learn from that. But really you just have to look at it, and at this level, there's a lot of games in a short amount of time. You have to move on right away. Because if you dwell on a game or a play, that can turn into 2 games and 3 games, and those are critical points. So,
what would you tell your younger fans right now about that and about that bounce back? You were just focusing and honing in on that, but if you talk to them for just a moment about that and what they can do, because so many times, I mean, especially when they're playing pride soccer, for example, and they're like 8, 10, 12 years old, and they're, oh my goodness, I lost, I don't know, and my parents are depressed, and I mean, how do you get back emotionally? Talk to them.
Well, I think, when I was younger, every game was like the championship game, and I'd want to win every game, 3-0, 5-0, and then when you lose, it's the end of the world. But you just have to learn that, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. You have to try to keep an even keel. Whether you win, you take pride in that win, you stay humble, and then if you lose, you learn from it. You don't let yourself get too down, and you have to move on.
And what did you learn from this game?
From this game, I know I sound like a broken record, but you have to stay positive. You have to look at the positives. You have to keep going. We have 4 games, potentially 4 games coming up in a couple weeks. So you have to move on. If you either move on or get knocked out.
Right.
So,
And you have 2 games this week in Colorado Springs. Let's talk about that. You have one coming up on Wednesday. You have
Yep.
one coming up at home on Saturday.
yeah, well, we have the Open Cup team against Harpo's tomorrow night. And we know they're a hardworking team. They'll come in ready to work, so we have to match that intensity. And then we play Arizona this weekend, and we found success down there, and hopefully we can match that.
And finally, if you just talk to your fans for just a moment, why it's important for them to be at these home games. Rain or shine,
Yeah.
you play with, unless there's, of course, tornadoes, snow,
Yeah.
etc. But for the
Well,
most part, rain or shine, if you talk to them.
They came in the snow, so and that was huge for us. We got a big win against Salt Lake in that game. So, we need you guys to come out and cheer us on. We hear you guys, and that's why we do what we do.
All right, thank you very much, JJ.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with Coach Steve to talk about those 2 games that we were just talking about but just moments ago with Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back with Coach Steve. We'll see you in just a moment. Welcome back to Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. I'm Eric Singer, your host for everything that is the Switchbacks. And now we're going to be looking forward. Wednesday, a special game, and Saturday, a special game, both at home that you can attend. So first, let's talk with Coach Steve about this game that you're going to be playing. This is the Harpos from Boulder. Let's talk about it.
Well, they're an amateur team. We'll be playing in the Open Cup competition starting this week. I think this is the 3rd round of it, so all the USL teams will enter into the 3rd round. They've had 2 rounds before. Harpos, they beat an amateur team from Kansas City the first round, and then they beat a PDL team this last week in Utah, which I got to see the BYU team play a couple weeks ago, and they actually were decent. So we're in for a good game. I mean, I know, watching the video of them, they're going to be a hard-working team. They're going to be very direct, so we've got to take care of our restarts and long balls. But we've got to go out and play our game. So we've been preparing for this, and during this week in training, just trying to keep that intensity up, just like we do every game.
Now, you were talking to me a little bit about the importance of this. At first you think to yourself, well, no, it's not on the schedule, but it's still just as important, and how they can play with whomever.
Yeah, this is a competition where amateur teams are allowed to enter all the way up to MLS teams. So, this is the 3rd round. USL teams come in the 3rd round, and then the next round, they'll get more and more, and then finally the MLS teams will come in, I think, the 4th or 5th round. And so, there could be, if we keep winning in this, that we could meet up with an MLS team.
So now let's go ahead forward. We're going to go on Saturday, once again, to Sand Creek Stadium, of course, at home game, which is also special, something that's near and dear to your heart. And you're going to be playing a team that's out for revenge because you beat them in their home.
Right. Yeah, and Arizona, they've been actually playing well. They won their game last weekend. They were down 2-0, and they came back and won 3-2. And so, They were a good team then. We just had a very good game, and that was a game actually we had the two guys red carded, but we held on for the win. And so I know they're wanting revenge, and it's not going to be an easy game. So we have a lot of games coming up. So we played 2 games this week. If we keep going in the Open Cup, we'll play also next Wednesday and then on the following Saturday. So it's about managing the guys right now. We're going to change our lineup for the Wednesday game against the Harpo's team and rest a few guys for the Saturday game. But it's going to take everybody on the roster, and so some guys are going to have the opportunity now to show us what they can do. Some guys that haven't been playing a whole lot to come out and do it. But we're going to need everybody, and so everybody's ready for that.
And as JJ was saying, that home field advantage means so much, and also the fans, you were just talking to them just a moment ago about, he was saying that, that one game that was super rainy
Yeah.
and it's sort of like snow, rain, it seemed like, wow, they still came out, and they came out in droves, and I know you certainly appreciate that, and really, the fans really do, not the fans, but the players really appreciate the fact that the fans are coming out.
Oh, for sure. We need them out there. We need their support. This is an exciting team. This is an exciting young team, and we showed that last week in Orange County. They're starting to play very good quality soccer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do this week.
And I'd say, in my mind, if there was one word for this season, believe.
Yeah, that sounds good, and the guys have it in their mind, and we have a thing. We said every week, let's be better than the game we were before, and they've done that, and we just got to keep doing that.
All right, thank you, Coach Steve, and good luck on both of those games. And of course, you can check Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC to be able to find out more about tickets and be able to go to these games. They should be exciting. Wednesday and Saturday. Plan it on your schedule. With Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC, I'm your host, Eric Singer, and good luck to you, Coach, and good luck to the players. We'll see you next week.